here. Oh, here we are over here. Okay, so welcome to week 3 of Success Circle. We're right in the midpoint, right? So we've really built a lot of momentum with the tech split scene and with laying this foundation. And today we're going to talk about best practices for how to teach a class. So again, congratulations to all, oops, wait, hold on a second. Tracy, hold on. You're still popping in as us? Okay. Wait.
I don't know how to do it.
Okay, can you log out and just log in as Tracy, not as me?
No, I don't know how to do it. I'm just going to mute myself.
Okay, but it's messing things up for our video camera. Sorry, everyone. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we were totally blown away by the momentum of the tech splits. Collectively, you guys sent out over 1,000 texts.
1,000 texts collectively, more than.
Which is really mind-blowing. And what we want to point out is that this is something that you can do anytime you want to gain some momentum in your business. So you've all been through this exercise, so you don't have to wait for there to be a big contest, or you could do a smaller contest within your team. So keep that in mind and keep this exercise in mind. So once you work through all the classes that you have scheduled, and then you want to schedule the next couple months, sit down and get them all booked. Now, for some of you, if you did not book all of the classes that you hope to book, then we recommend taking the balance of the classes that need to be scheduled and booking those yourself. So you're the hostess, and then you invite guests to come to that event.
Sorry, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to join with the phone.
Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. Hold on. Okay. Oh, hold on here. Okay, having some technical issues today. Okay, so today we are going to talk about how to host a successful class. And as Josie says, as we all teach,
keep it simple. That said, plan for success. So even in the simplicity, behind simplicity is a lot of planning. I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to say, is that simplicity comes from the background of a lot of planning, and then on the surface it looks really simple. So that said, plan for success, and the fortune is in the close and the follow-up. And so to remember that, and the more planning that goes in beforehand, the more time there will be to have an easy, flowing, simple close and follow-up.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so today we're going to talk about best practices for hosting classes, and we have a lot of great nuggets for you and a lot of information to share, and a little work that you'll need to do on your own. So, but we're going to go over all of it today. So first of all, we're gonna give you some really great tips on how to invite. We have created a hostess letter for you. We're going to talk again about hostess gifts. We're going to go over the class checklist. We're going to give you pointers on how to teach an awesome class, how to use raffle tickets, how to book classes from classes, and then also how to leverage incentives, and then also how to delineate between a hostess, a sharer, and a builder. And all right, you guys ready? So we're just going to jump into it. So first of all, we posted all this information last night, so you guys can all access it. It's all in the file section. But one of your weekly...
Of the Success Circle Facebook page.
Yes, thank you. One of your weekly action steps is to watch this video by Seth and Rod titled How to Invite to a Class. And it's a 9-minute video, but it is very effective, and they go through different scenarios from people that say no, so people that are closed, and people that are open. And Josie has actually gone through and written out a lot of the key scripting. And so we really recommend that you watch this and that you really take the scripting in and make it a part of you. And so it just comes out effortlessly. And so it will just be at the tip of your tongue as you're speaking to people, because the more you can get the scripting down into your own languaging, the easier it will flow and the more effective you'll be with it. So don't just listen to it and disregard it. Like really take it in and then start to practice it and implement it. So we want you to go watch this video. The sooner the better. And then this again, if you have new team members and they're just inviting you to a class, remember these resources, because then you can always share them with people later.
And so I really suggest that over this week and in the future to do role playing with a team member, an upline, exactly how they're doing it. I love this. It's under 10 minutes, this video. And what in the video, they show the casualness and the ease at which it's in it. When they're doing it, it sounds, you're like, oh yeah, that sounds like normal. That sounds like regular speech. I could do that. And so, right. Not only do we have the video, but there's now the transcribed notes for you. So you can just take in the video and then download the notes, and then you can study and work from them and do some role play.
Exactly. Okay, so we've worked on creating an Essential Wellness Hostess letter for you. And the idea about this is how to really set your events up for success, especially when you're working with somebody that is not a builder or familiar with how to have a class. So we want to review this letter with you.
All right, so I'm just going to briefly read through it so people have an idea of what this letter sounds like when you're going to be sending it to a hostess. So the letter is for May 6th, 2016. Hi, Nancy. It was great to meet you at Sloan's oil class a few days ago. Thank you for hosting your own essential oil class. I have down that your class is scheduled for May 26th at 6:30 p.m. So notice that you probably sent it a couple days after, like 2 days after the class. The class might have taken place on May 4th. Now it's May 6th, and their class is scheduled for 20 days later. I look forward to your membership overview this Wednesday, the 11th at 10 a.m., right? Their class was on the 4th, so now it's the next week. They should have just gotten their oils, and so you've already scheduled their membership overview at the class. In addition to discussing your account and wellness consult, I would briefly like to discuss your options as a hostess, sharer, or builder within doTERRA. This will help me to have clarity in how to best advise you moving forward. So we have the sheet, which we are going to explain later on in the presentation about that, delineating the hostess, sharer, and builder, and how to best talk with your hostess about that. Now, there are instances, I'm just going to say before I go on, where you have a hostess who hasn't even been to a class yet. So this is a template that's just for the most common situation. But if you have that situation, you'll have to change the wording around a little bit to then work with someone and work in that membership overview kind of sequence if that hasn't happened.
And with that said, please know that these are templates.
Yeah.
And you can take this and work it and make it your own. We just want to give you something to work with.
Yes.
So don't feel like it has to be exactly what we have here, but it will just give you a good starting point.
That's why this is a PDF. So you can change it around.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So as a hostess, you will receive, and then this is in parentheses, you need to decide what you've already come to a conclusion for yourself, what's working best for you as your hostess gift, right? So whatever you've promised to this person, you receive, and they say whatever incentive is promised. Examples would be a customized doTERRA keychain filled with oils of your choice, showcased at the class, or perhaps a free oil, or maybe just two mil oils that you filled from your oil bag and oil case from the class. Or you could be offering an aroma touch to the person. You could be, or the other thing is 10% of total class sales. So whatever's that thing that you've come up with them. So you say, as a hostess, you will receive blank for hosting the class. And when you have at least 6 people in attendance at your class, you will additionally earn a free diffuser. So the idea is to take it up a notch, So you're really trying to get more, you want to have an incentive for them to really get higher in attendance there. So whatever your baseline hostess gift is, there's something that's a next notch up for if they get a certain amount of people, or, somewhere in that 6 people to attend. So that's worth $50. There you go. And then I'm excited. The key to a successful class is to have a strong turnout. How do you do that? I have found a solid way to ensure a great turnout. Typically, 10% of those who you invite will actually be able to attend or show up. If you have 3 contacts with them, your odds increase to 25%. Here's a 3-step method to ensure you have a good turnout at your class. So this is like not overbearing, but kind of giving them this idea of a couple touches in a simple, easy way. 1, start inviting 2 weeks before the class. Create a list of friends and family you would feel would be interested in learning more about natural forms of healthcare and wellness. I suggest starting with a Facebook invite to a large amount of people, 100 or more, and then personally calling and or emailing your top 10 to 20 friends, family that you really want to be there. Please let me know if you would like my help with the invitation. So usually as the person teaching the class, you want to check in. Some people love and they got it down on how to make an invite, but if they don't, you should be helping them. So 2, follow up, second contact 1 week before the class. Call, text, or message friends with the following. And again, you can adjust to this. These are examples. Hi, Sally. Just wanted to make sure you got my invite for the oil class next week. Or, hi, Sally. I just wanted to make sure you understood the invite for the oil class next week, right? Because there's an implicit thing within there that they're responding that like, hey, did you get my invite? Or, hi, Sally, I invited you to my oil class via Facebook and was checking to make sure you saw the invite. So you want to get a response from them like, yeah, I saw it. Sorry, can't come. Or, no, I didn't see it actually. Can you resend it to me? So number 3, just letting you know contact. So the third contact is the day before the class. Call, text, or message your friends just to let them know. So here is an extra little message about a special something that you're offering at the class. An example could be, hi, Sally, I just wanted to let you know that when you attend my oil class tomorrow, there's an on-time drawing, so be on time. Or, hi, Sally, I just wanted to let you know that when you attend my class tomorrow, if you bring a friend, you get a free gift. Okay, so those could be wild oranges. There's no need to, and this is an important part of the letter, there's no need to provide food for the class. However, water in non-plastic vessel and cups would be a great idea. I'll arrive at least 30 minutes ahead of time to set up. I look forward to our meeting next week. So there should be another touch base with the hostess. And please do not hesitate to reach out to me at any time. Sincerely, Josie. There you go.
There you go.
There's little things you can change around and customize, adjust for yourself, but that looks like the baseline of what would be an email that you would send out a day or 2 after your class for anyone who has said they would like to host a class.
Awesome. So we hope that is useful for all of you. Okay. Oops. Okay. Is that the right page? Sorry, everyone. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we reviewed this last time, but we just wanted to review possible hostess gifts. Now, really, this is entirely up to you. So whatever you want to offer, go for it. But these are just some suggestions. And that is just simply the small bottles of the wild orange are a great gift. You could make your hostess a special oil blend if they have something going on. And
I always like doing the little roller bottles. You don't have to even do 10 mil. You could do 5 mil. And then it's in the coconut oil.
Exactly.
And then you make up a blend that's like your special blend for them.
Yes. You could then also just do your favorite oil. Like I personally love Balance and love to give that as a gift. There's the keychains that you can get in your back office.
Can I talk about this for a sec? So
sure.
I think my favorite thing, at least at the moment, there's things always changing, is to offer at the class for someone who is booking in the class right then and there, that night, booked on your phones or schedules, a class. They walk away with 2 milliliter samples from my case. They get to choose whatever they want and they get to fill that up. And I have my cute keychain that's filled with the 8 oils in it, all cool, my own stuff, my own little customized thing. And I show that around and I say, this is what you get with hostessing a class completely filled up. You book it tonight, you get to take the first 2 home, and then I'm going to fill in the rest of the other 6 at the class.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. And so that's what I think is really fun, because then it's like, oh, they can sit there and they get to start and get an enrollment kit like the Home Essentials kit or something like that, or Natural Solutions. But then there's funny oils like rosemary or cassia or patchouli or ylang ylang, and they can get little 2 mils of that from me.
Right. So cool. Also the trio kits, the little trio kits that has lavender, lemon, and peppermint. You can buy those in groups of 5 in your back office for a great deal. Also a diffuser. Give them an aroma touch treatment is just a lovely thing to offer babysitting, mentoring, or also a percentage of the fast start. So again, you really get to decide. This just gives you some ideas of good hostess gifts.
You can talk and find out what's their love language a little bit. So that's also an idea,
Sure.
What is motivating to them. So you can have a couple of different ideas depending on what you think actually speaks to them.
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to go over the class checklist. So first of all, you want to just keep it super simple. It's nice if you can just show up with a bag and some oils and not, gobs and gobs of stuff. And we love that with the Edge Success System, because you really don't need to take a lot with you. And what you're modeling there is how duplicatable what you're doing is. You don't need a ton of supplies. You don't need a lot of material. Just keep it really simple. So you want to have your Edge Success oil class sheet, which you're going to give to everyone in the room. And then you also want to have the new Edge Success Buyer's Guide. And the Buyer's Guide is great because it has all the kits in it. It has the enrollment form. It has everything you need in one guide. And then again, you want to have your hostess gift. You want to have some raffle gifts. You can also use things off that list. I really love to raffle the toothpaste, the beadlets, some chapstick, some lemon. Again, the lower priced items can be great, and also things that people will go home and use, so things that aren't too obscure. That's why I love the toothpaste, actually. Another thing you can do for raffle is you can get all the samples, like get the little On Guard toothpaste samples or the shampoo packet samples and the little trio sample packs, and you could make little gift bags and you could raffle those off.
People
and so
love
everyone's getting little different things to try. So that's
Yeah.
also great for raffle gifts, and that's inexpensive and easy to do. We also recommend having a modern essentials or the Essential Life book. And this can be an incentive for opening the account with 100 PV order and then setting up the loyalty rewards for 100. Now, keep in mind, you're going to get the money back in your Fast Start checks for the book. And then when they do the order the following month, that will be commission in your pocket. So you're reinvesting in your business. You're offering them education and resources to help build a lifelong customer. You also want to
So
have...
I just want to say with that, and to try and have a good amount present with you, to really be able to have them walk away with the book.
Yes, definitely.
The book is meant to be a that evening incentive. If they sign up that evening with 100 minimum PV order and trialing loyalty rewards the following month with 100 PV minimum order, they walk away with the book.
Yes.
So a lot of times it's your uplines that help you with those initial purchases. And so work with your upline in that way. And when you order 8 or more from either of the places, the price really drops to about $17 a book.
Yeah, and
So
this is something you can also get together with your team and do a large bulk order, so you have some in stock, and then you can pay the lowest price for the books. And I know some people like to have both the Modern Essentials and the Essential Life, and they will then offer the new enrollee to be able to pick whichever book they like best. We find that the more science-minded people lean towards the Modern Essentials book, where people that like more pretty pictures and recipes tend to lean towards the Essential Life. And or pick the one that you like the best. If your budget is tight, don't feel like you have to have both those books there.
You can
Again,
start with one, and
there's options. So just sharing with you what a couple people do. We've created a raffle sheet for you, and somebody else created that for us.
Yes.
So we want to give them
we'll
credit.
tell on the next slide. It's Karen Peltier.
So we're going to share how to use that. And this is a really important tool in your class. Pens, of course, excuse me, so people can take notes. And then bring a diffuser. It's a great way to set the atmosphere in the room and to be able to point to it when you're talking about aromatic use. And it's just a really appealing thing to highlight. And then minimum, you want to have the oils in the family physician kit. And one thing that you can do is have an actual family physician kit with the 5 ml bottles, and you just bring that, and then you just teach from the family physician kit. And then Dr. Josie also likes to have some other oils and product with that. So I'll let her review that list.
So
with you.
Going ahead with not having the huge extensive, I have a big, I call it my little, 007 case from the old cases that has every single oil. And sometimes I still bring that and have that I don't have it out front. I have that in the back for like filling up oils, because I get to, for the hostess gift, and that's a nice way to work with your inventory. But for the purpose of the class and showing people the duplication, I can never say it. Duplicatableness. I don't think that's a word. Whatever. Okay.
It is in doTERRA.
It's a doTERRA word. That it's nice to have that smaller family physician kit with the 5 mils and just show there. But then I like to have these extras with me, because I find them so essential. And they're also in the Natural Solutions kit. And so sometimes I might be highlighting a little bit of a bigger kit. So I show the family physician plus these. And I might just have them stacked kind of there at the side. I might not always bring them out. I might have them just ready, though, in case someone has a health complaint or concern that needs them. So the things that I can't do without that are outlined beyond the family physician kit that I like to highlight sometimes are the Clary Calm, Past Tense, Slim and Sassy, have the Deep Blue Rub, the actual rub, and then Correct X and Peppermint Beadlets. And I will, because those are all in the family physician kit as well. And it can be great to highlight those when you go, I'm not family, the Natural Solutions kit, sorry. And then to have the box with the LLV, just nice to actually, when you're talking about the vitamins, to kind of people can read the bottles. And then On Guard Plus, that's my own personal, it's a good way to show what the oils look like already encapsulated from doTERRA, from all those products. So people kind of get a beadlet and then they get a capsule and they see it. And then to be able to say, like, I believe every home should have On Guard Plus capsules.
Definitely.
Like, that's part of your medicine cabinet. So that's my little list.
And a couple things here is that you can use empty bottles of your supplement. So you could take the supplements, but just keep the box and then just show the empty bottles. They don't need to be full of supplements. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing about highlighting some of these other products is it will then help fill out the order, and or it will also give them ideas of things they can put in their loyalty rewards the following month. And the way that you can bring them in, for instance, when you talk about peppermint, you could also highlight Past Tense. So these are products that are not on the tear pad, but you could talk about how Past Tense is in how peppermint is in Past Tense, and it's really great for head tension.
Right. And frankincense is in Correct X. And Correct X is great I use it with my nasal passages right here, and I use it on all my cuts and things. It can be great for a sore on the lip, a lot of different things.
Yeah. One other thing sometimes I'll do at the beginning of the class too is I'll just ask if anyone is currently having any aches and pains or not feeling great, and I'll just pass the Deep Blue around right in the beginning, or some peppermint around, or the Past Tense around, whatever's appropriate, and I'll just have them put it on before I even start the class. And then that way I'll check in with them towards the end of the class and see how they're feeling, and most oftentimes they're feeling a little bit better. So that's one way for them to just get a direct experience right from the get-go. Okay.
Well, you can ask, but then you're also going to receive the information from the raffle ticket.
Yes.
So these raffle tickets are so multi-purpose, and we want to give an incredible thank you and shout out to Karen Peltier and her husband, Andy. They made these up. the PDFs, and it is on the Success Circle Facebook page to be downloaded. And there's 4 on the page, and it's double-sided. So you actually end up, you're going to cut them up, and it's going to, the 2 sides are already there as one. So, and you get 4 for 1 sheet of paper. Okay. Thank you so much, Karen.
Yay. Thank you.
Awesome. So generous of her to give it out to the whole community. So these are, one thing is you can just carry them in your purse, and it becomes an incredible, I'm just going to say that before even the class, it becomes an incredible contact thing. So you're talking with someone and you're like, oh, here's where you can get their information, but you can sort of whip it out and say, yes, I do a class every week. I'm having a drawing here. Why don't you fill your stuff in and you can be part of it. You can invite them to class. It's a wonderful way that way to even be using it. But during the class, it takes away the need for a sign-in sheet and all of that. So you have kind of a check-in table or a way where people coming in that you make sure you say, hey, we're having a on-time raffle. Please fill this out, right away, like now. And I usually will hand them the Modern Essentials book so they can be doing it on a Modern Essentials book. So they're having that first touch with the book. And then when you're returning them back in, I will be looking at them and taking in the different health concerns. And that's where I kind of can customize and adjust my talk a little bit about who's in the room and what things they've said. And that's where you could be like, hey, I noticed there was a couple people here who already have some, pain or discomfort and stuff. I'm going to pass around the Steep Blue right now. You could do that. And then, but when you're bringing them in, before you collect them, say, okay, we're going to do the drawing now. I'm going to collect the entries. But before everyone passes them in, I just want to make sure everyone saw on the back here, this last question. I'm interested in hosting a class. As a thank you, I'll receive free products. I'll talk about this later in the class, but if you think you're at all interested, even just a maybe, then please check this before you hand it back to me. So you want to make sure you're highlighting that and giving people that opportunity, and then they hand it back into you.
Yeah. And this, we're going to talk about, you're then going to keep this because this is a wealth of information that you're gathering about your clientele, and you're going to then use this. One, we're going to talk about it more next week when we talk about best practices for the membership overview. So you're going to reference this for that once they enroll. But if they don't enroll and you know that Sally is interested in weight management, and for instance, if we have a weight loss webinar or class coming up, or you want to teach one yourself, then you can invite Sally to the weight management class. You could even take a survey of what the most common interests are, and then create some classes based on those topics for your, the people that haven't enrolled yet. So there's just this is so much valuable information. And again, we're going to talk about even more how we're going to use this, but we're grateful that we have these that you can all download and use. Okay, so in talking about your class, we're going to go through just some of the highlights of how to have a successful class. So first of all, you want to edify the presenter. And so if you actually are the presenter yourself and you're going to a hostess's house, then give them the instruction to introduce you, and a little bit what to say and how to introduce you. This is an important step. And if the person's not in doTERRA, if they've never done a class before, then they're not necessarily going to know to do this. So it's important to give them a little instruction about who you are, that you're an essential oil educator, whatever else you want to add, just keep it short and simple. And then as the presenter, once you step into presenting, you want to thank the hostess and all of your guests for coming to the class, and take a moment to share gratitude that they are there, that they've taken time out of their busy lives to come to the class. And it's also really important to start your class on time. So of course, if the class starts at 6, to 8, it's hard to start right at 6, but we recommend that you start within 10 to 15 minutes of the start time. And so you can keep the class on a time, get it wrapped up in a timely manner. And we recommend keeping your class to about 45 minutes, hour tops. because you want that second hour to be the time to get everybody enrolled. If your class goes too long and you give too much information, people will get overwhelmed and then they'll need to leave. And that's where we see a lot of breakdown happen. So the shorter your class, the better. Now, I recommend that if you're new to this material, read through the tear pad and time yourself and listen to how you're giving the information. Are you saying a lot of ums? Are you clear in your speech? Like, practice giving this and really just practice reading it and keeping it super, super simple and on point. Okay, and then we talked about the raffle tickets. So you want to pass those raffle tickets around, and then you want to collect those before you get started. And again, if you just kind of glance over them and you can see where people's interest lies, then you can incorporate that a little bit when you're talking about different products. Also, very important, of course, open the oils. Most important is you want to give people an experience of the essential oils, and you want to share from your heart. And then again, right, keep it really simple. So opening the oils, I like to have all the oils that I'm going to be teaching with, out in front of me. And so they're easy to grab, or if you have another wellness advocate there, you can ask them to pass those oils around. Demonstrate. I find that oftentimes, when people have never used an oil before, they'll just kind of like dab a little tiny bit on their finger and they don't really know what to do with it. But it's nice to actually demonstrate putting, 3 or 4 drops on your hand, rubbing your hands together, smelling the oil, rubbing it on the back of your neck, rubbing it in your hair, rubbing it on your friend, right? And really showing them how to apply the oils, because of course this is really natural for us. But again, people that are new to essential oils, they're not really sure what to do with them or how much to take. So don't assume things are obvious, because they're actually really not. Things that are natural for us are not natural for other people. If you do that, we actually like to pass around some wild orange and peppermint to get the class started. And you can have them smell it, rub it on their back of the neck, and then even taste a little bit of peppermint off of their finger. And this gives them the whole experience of being aromatic, topical, and internal right off the bat. Okay, it's also important to talk about their goals. So we've had them written down on that raffle sheet. You really want to make the class more about them and not about you. So the more that you can engage them, the more you can get them thinking and writing down their goals and thinking about how these products are going to work into their lives, the better and the more powerful this will be. So you do want to share your story, because your stories are very powerful and people are going to really remember stories. But in regards to sharing your story, it's really important to keep it on point and to keep it short. So practice telling your story. And, I'm totally guilty of this. Many of you have heard my story of my battle with Lyme. And in the beginning, I probably went on for, 5 minutes sharing, well, then this happened, and then this happened, and well, and then this happened, and then I was introduced to the oils. And people actually don't really care. So I really try to get that. And it's not that they don't care, but if they do care, you can have a longer conversation later. And this isn't the place to go on and on and on about your story, right? So you want to keep it short, you want to keep it bullet pointed, and you want to highlight basically what was your struggle, like where were you before the oils and where are you now? What was the result of using the product? And you don't also need to have a huge, for me, I have my huge health story, but it could be what you did with your child yesterday when they had a bellyache, or how you helped them.
And it could be little stories along the way
Absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be like this life-altering story personally for yourself. You can definitely talk about other people's stories, friends.
Absolutely.
And the other thing about the story is not to come out of the gate with it. So when you're introducing yourself and talking about, why you're presenting to them and working with the oils, whether you're the hostess or the teacher, you want to have the presenter be edified, and then you briefly tell kind of working with the oils, but then you really want that more, if it's an emotional story or those stories to come in the kind of the middle to the
Exactly.
3/4 point after they've gotten to know you a little bit. You don't want
Exactly.
to blow them over in the beginning before
it's
they've gotten to know
really
you.
important that you build trust.
Yeah.
And so if you stand up in front of the room and tell this really dramatic story and start crying and going on, and they don't actually know you yet, you actually might lose their trust. So it's important, like Josie said, to bring the story in midway and or also at the end is a powerful time to end with a story. So an example is I've had a powerful story with Slim and Sassy. So when I get to the Slim and it's not on here anymore. It was on the old presentation. But when I would talk about Slim and Sassy, that is where I would then talk more about my story and how I arrived at the essential oils. So again, just something to think about, something to practice, something to bullet point. Wonderful to have different stories with different products. If you have other wellness advocates in the room, you could have them share some stories about the different products as you go through them. Also, don't be the expert. This is a mistake that, Josie and I are really guilty in the beginning, right? We wanted to be the experts.
Still.
Well, Josie still is an expert, so it's hard for her to not be the expert, and we love her for that. But it is intimidating. And if you are the expert and they see you as the doctor teaching the essential oil class, then what they're going to think is, well, how could I ever do that? Because she's a doctor, or she's a nutritionist, or she's, an acupuncturist, or whatever it is. How am I going to do that? And you don't want them to disqualify themselves because you're such an expert. And sometimes, even if you know the answer, it's much more empowering to bring out the book. If somebody comes to you with a question and says, well, what do you do for this? You say, that's a great question. Let's look it up in the book together. Because again, we want to empower them to find their own answers and to point them towards the resources. And the more you can empower them and teach them to do that, one, it's going to be a lot easier on your business, because as your business grows, you don't want all of your new wellness advocates to be texting you all day long with the answers to their needs and all of their friends. And we say that from experience, because that's what happened to both of us when we started. And again, we didn't know the difference. We wanted to be helpful, but then it can become really overwhelming. Also, it's really important to ask for the business. Now, it's obvious that you're inviting people over to have them enroll, but it's really important that you actually ask the question and that you feel confident in your close. We find that a lot of people start to get really anxious around this point, and what happens is their energy shifts, and everybody in the room feels that. So it's really important to own the close, to practice the close, and again, to realize that you're offering something that is really empowering and really life-changing for people. And so don't be shy about that. And this is where we bring in that permission-based languaging. It's so simple, right? So here's some of the examples. Once the class has come to an end, you can then say, I am just curious, what did you like most about the class, right? So simple. Also, keep this in mind. This languaging of, would it be okay if, I show you how to open up your wholesale account? Or would you like to explore your options to purchase doTERRA's products? So that's actually on the new tear sheet, right down there at the bottom. Would you like to explore your options to purchase doTERRA products? Yes or no? If they say no, then it's the end of the discussion.
You don't have to move on to the buyer's guide. You don't even have to give them a buyer's guide.
If they say yes, you then open that door into the close, right?
Yes.
Most of the time, when you ask that question, would you like to explore? Would it be okay if? It can really, and I've seen this happen where any of that tension or that fear about the close completely dissipates. And then the person saying, yes, I would like to know how to buy these. And then you have that invitation to show them, and it really shifts the energy. So again, memorize this and say it, right? Again, it's so easy. We see it here, but the tricky part is when you're in class, to actually say these words, right?
So before we go on, now here's a really, really important tip. I have something I'm going to tell you that I want you guys to write down, but also I want to let you know, most of the time, the biggest impediment or heckler during your close can be your hostess. Your hostess, all of a sudden, her nervousness about imposing on her friends and somehow coming off as salesy will usually come up when you're trying to do the close.
So true.
So true, right? This is
We both experienced it.
That's why we're going through these guidelines where you, as much as possible, want to have a membership overview and a business overview with your hostess. And you're sending her this hostess letter, and you're definitely meeting with her with tea or something where you're going over these definitions between a sharer and a builder and where she feels like she is. It can be a mini business overview where you're just doing the guidelines, which are going to help you out with. But you need to make sure that you say to your hostess, I am going to be presenting the close and the option to buy product at the class. Are you okay with this?
Mm-hmm.
I am teaching and educating, but I will also be doing this. And so I ask, and she has to give her permission. And I ask that you please let me do the close. I know you can help at all other places, the classes, but if you can please hold back and just allow me to do the close with the sale options.
Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. So you definitely want to go over that. And so here's what I wrote down. I'm sorry I didn't put it in the other things, but here's what I want you to write down. This is a key phrase that you can put in any text or Facebook or email invitation. So your hostess, you get to make it up however you want your invitation to look and all of that. And at the bottom, you can have a little star and it can say, options to purchase oils will be available at the class. I'm going to say that one more time. Little star. Options to purchase oils will be available at the class. That lets people in the invitation know that you are selling something, that there's going to be an option to review to be able to buy things. So now the hostess has let her friends know if there are people who don't want to be approached or they can say no. Okay?
Exactly.
Does that? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Such good points. Okay, so here we have the buyer's guide, and we're not going to go over this right now, but again, we just want to point out some of the key phrasing, which would be, when you get to this point, which kit interests you the most? So this is so key when you just ask these questions and then be quiet. Like really don't, some people will get anxious and then they keep talking. This is something that I see happen a lot. Which kit interests you the most, Josie? Well, I just bought the family physician kit because I didn't have a lot of money, so you should really stop with that. Or you could actually go home and ask your husband and we can do it all later. Right? So
that's the hostess. That's what I found the hostesses say the most. You're sitting there and you're doing a close and then she comes in with that.
Yes.
And she's nervous.
Now, did you notice how my voice speeded up and didn't that make you actually feel anxious?
Yeah.
Right? And so these are things that happen, and as you're presenting, it's something that you can take note of. Are you starting to talk fast? Because as you get nervous, like you can feel that. Can you feel it through the screen, like how uncomfortable that was and how it actually was just shutting everything down? So it's very, very, very important to ask the question and then be quiet, because you don't know what somebody may want to buy and you don't want to decide for them, and you don't know, you're not in charge of their finances.
Don't spend other people's money.
So do not spend, exactly. Like
we have
write
been
that
so
down.
Surprised. People who you think have tons of independent extra money income who don't want to spend anything, and people who you feel are strapped to the nines and have no money will buy an every oil kit. You have no idea.
You have no idea. So don't kill the sell. And as my husband always tells me, as soon as somebody says yes, stop selling. Don't keep talking, then move towards the enrollment process.
Yes.
So when they say, yes, I want the diamond kit, Don't then go on and on and on and on. Just go, that is an amazing choice. Let's get you, let's fill out this form and we'll get that taken care of, right? Okay, so another question. Would it be okay if, oh, I'm sorry, I have a typo there. We set up your wholesale membership account tonight, right? So tonight or today or right this moment. So ask them that question. And then after you've gone through this process, and we're going to, again, talk about this more next week, our next step is to schedule a membership overview to show you how to manage your orders and get the most from your wholesale membership. When are you available? Get out your calendar and write that down. This is key to your business. If you are enrolling a lot of people, but they are not getting on loyalty rewards, you're essentially starting your business over every month and you're carrying buckets. You are not building a pipeline. Your pipeline is the loyalty rewards. People also are going to follow your lead. So when I enroll anybody, I assume that they are going on loyalty rewards. And 95% of the people I enroll do go on loyalty rewards, because I go ahead, I set that up. I let them know that I'm setting it up. I review it with them. I make sure they know what product they need. I make sure they know how to order their product. And that is how you're going to get a lifetime customer.
And I just assume that it's part of the package. When someone enrolls with a Wellness Advocate account, what they get from me, the enroller, what they get from my team, our Essential Wellness team, is immediately what comes with that account is the membership overview and a wellness consultation. This is an amazing, amazing service. It is something that is valuable. So to think that like you're trying to like force them into doing it is so the wrong mindset.
Yes.
And so basically it's whenever you're in a class and you have enrollments, you never ever leave without the membership overview already booked. Yes. If you've ever been in business as a doctor, as a naturopath, is the primary role is like you don't let the patient leave without the next appointment booked.
Right.
That's exactly how every service industry works. Mm-hmm. Because to be of service, the person actually has to come back again and receive your service.
Right.
So, and for them to get well, to get educated, they have to come back for that service.
And one last thing on that note is that, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, I was going to say, I will, and a huge time eater is if you don't book it, trying to chase the way we are, have busyness in life, trying to chase people down just to book it can take a lot of back and forth and energy. So get it scheduled on the books before they leave we're going to show them with our card. This is one of their gifts. This is one of the great benefits and gifts they receive as becoming a member of Essential Wellness.
Exactly. And last note, and we'll move on, is do your best to schedule that membership overview right when their product is arriving or just shortly thereafter. And so you can review the product they have and then set up their following order. So the timing of that is also really key.
5 days to a week after the class.
Yes. Yeah.
After the enrollment goes in.
Okay. So now we taught you how to do the text splits, right? So that's one way to get your classes. Now this is another very powerful and effective way to get classes, and that is how to book classes from classes. You have a captive audience. You have people that have said yes. You have people that are interested. So leverage that and ask who in the room wants to teach a class. Now we have it on the raffle slip, but we're going to have you watch this awesome little webinar with Diane Shepard. She's a Presidential Diamond. It's 15 minutes long, and she is going to teach you exactly how to incorporate this into your class and how to actually book classes on the spot. So we want you to go in and watch this, and then we want you to begin to utilize this in your classes. Like, you've just done all this work to set up all the classes for the tech splits, right? And this program only goes till the end of June, but your business continues to move forward.
Yeah.
And we want you to have momentum and the skills to keep moving so you can reach Diamond, Blue Diamond, Presidential Diamond, so you can find financial freedom, so you can basically realize your why. right? So this is why we want to teach you the skill set and how to keep this momentum moving.
I love the philosophy in the Seth and Rod inviting. Rod said his philosophy was, well, everyone I know might not be interested in solutions for natural wellness and healthcare, but they know someone who is.
Exactly.
And so this is the same concept as you're in the class. And so the people in your class might not be interested in the business of doTERRA, but they could be interested in hosts they've seen, and someone they know could be interested in the business of doTERRA.
Yes,
fantastic.
Exactly.
I know.
Okay, so incentives. We always recommend having an incentive because having a buy it now is powerful, and also something that is a limited time offer really gets people to put the pen to the paper and make the commitment. And people love free stuff. Now, the great thing is doTERRA always has great incentives. I mean, not every single month, but like for instance, this month we have the 200 PV offer of all the Breathe products. So at the end of your class, you need to share. You could have all those products there. You can share. If you do this 200 PV opening order, not only will you get your Modern Essentials book or your Essential Life book, but you're also going to get all these awesome free products with your order. And that doesn't cost you anything, and that's giving them a lot of free stuff, right? So again, we've already talked about the books, and you can purchase those at Essential Oil Life or Aroma Tools. And then also we want to review with you a new Essential Wellness Team incentive card that we've just created. And so it's really important to talk about all the offerings of our team. Anything that Josie and I do, we ultimately are doing it for you so you can be successful in your business. So we hope that you are leveraging it, that you are highlighting it, and that you are taking ownership of it, because we are one team, and this is to help support your business. So we're creating this cards, and we'll have the PDFs on, we have them on the website right now, and so you can download the PDF, you can use it in the digital format, you can print out cards, whatever you want to do.
So it's on the essentialwellness.life website under new enrollee.
Yes, exactly. You want to talk about this?
Yeah. So we have two, right? Or are we just highlighting one, this one?
Right now we just have this one. We have more coming.
We got more coming.
But this is the one we're highlighting today.
This is the advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
This is to download. You can laminate it. You can put in a thing. You can make it pretty, however, and you could pass them out, but you don't have to do that. You could have a couple of them. You could put it up on a little, to basically say, when you join our Essential Wellness community with your doTERRA wholesale account, you receive these gifts. So people sit there at the end of the class and they kind of try and remember in their head. And I always look up to my, memory bank, and I'm like, okay, this is the stuff. Now you can sort of pass this around and say, hey, right off the bat, look at all the things our team has to offer. Look at what you get for joining with me. You get to receive our Essential Oil Reference Guide. This is a custom designed e-card series highlighting the top 12 topics of essential oil use for family wellness. You receive, you get personal essential oil mentoring, you're the enroller, from me, and I'm going to give you an in-depth customized wellness consultation. You have access to our exclusive team resources, which include monthly live events, monthly live webinars, which are also recorded, monthly newsletter, weekly live educational calls, also recorded, and private Facebook support group. As well as, for those who are interested in the business training, we have a Pathway to Success 4-week accelerated business training. You get personal mentoring, a team website and resources, live business boot camps, business Facebook support page, and so much more.
Yeah, so these are huge gifts, and many teams don't have
all of this,
such resources. So it's really one thing that sets our team apart. And so again, leverage it, highlight it, and talk about how awesome it is to be part of our team. Yeah, we hope so. We do our best. Okay, so we're going to just go through this part really quickly, and then we'll wrap it up for questions. So this is the big question, right? Is this person a hostess, a sharer, or a builder, right? This is something that we're always asking, we're always working through. And so I'm going to give Josie credit for this. So let's give her, she's worked really hard on pulling this doc together to give you some guidelines to follow and how to work with each person and what is appropriate and kind of how to guide where this person falls. And this is especially important in regards to like who's going to get the enrollment of the new wellness advocate, where's placement going to go, etc. You want to talk about this just for a moment?
Yeah, we're going to be going over this in more depth with the leaders. So the Silver and Above group next week on the leader call, along with all the documents, pulling it together. So we would like people to download this and read it and digest it, and then talk about it with their uplines if you have questions. And after next week, but even before then, we'll be going over it in more detail. So we don't have time today for me to read through the whole thing. But the idea is to really start to get more of a foundation of where you stand with your hostess. And someone right in the beginning, they've said, yeah, this is great. I love this. I'd like to host a class. And then you're like, but wait a minute. I haven't, maybe I'll just get my membership overview, but I haven't had any discussion about the business. Like they don't really know what it means to have an order, be qualified, which means maintaining 100 PV LRP order. And they don't know all of those things. So what we are suggesting is to go through this like a flow sheet. And it'll really help you to get a more clear idea of how to work through that and have as much clarity before you have a class. So the idea is to have these conversations, and you can simplify them and go in more depth down the road, but have the simple ones at the get-go first before you have that hostessing. If, as you see in the beginning, it says hostess agrees to have a class for you, and you have a membership overview, right? You follow up and have a membership overview before the class. You ask, are you open to the idea of getting your products for free or creating an income with doTERRA? If they say no, it's really simple. They're a hostess and they get a hostess gift. And I say here, then thank them for helping you with your business and giving you referrals for your growing business. Review the hostess gifts they will be receiving, and then you will send them the hostess letter via email and set up a call for any remaining details for the class. And then these enrollments and placements go to you or the person you choose, as does the responsibility of the membership overview and support. So this is really also about taking care of the enrollments and making sure they receive the appropriate support as well. It's making sure that everyone who's doing the business and really working hard also receives the correct financial benefit as well. So it's going both ways. And then you guys can continue to read through the doc, through the details, and we can, answer some questions later on.
Yeah, awesome. So we're excited to have this as a guideline. And again, this is just a summary. You want to ask who is teaching, who is giving the membership overview, who is going to support this person, and you want to ensure that the person being enrolled will be supported correctly. So This is all really spelled out in those documents.
And then the end of the document, I said, and remember the rule of thumb is, because I spell out the reasons why beforehand, but the rule of thumb is whoever gives the membership overview receives the enrollment. So then you can work backwards and read through that document. So you're kind of asking yourself as you're talking with the hostess, who's doing all the work, who's teaching, who's giving the membership overview, who's going to support this person. And that's going to help you really figure out where they are along that spectrum and who should receive the enrollment and who should receive the placement.
Yeah, exactly. And then we just want to show you, if you haven't seen it already, we have a placement strategy webinar. And if you go to the essentialwellness.life website, and you can see there at the top where the first purple is, it says Essential Wellness Business Training. Under the library section, there is then down below a placement strategy webinar. So if you are new to this business, this is something you're going to probably want to watch a few times. And then we always recommend, always counsel with your upline mentor or your upline leader, because there's a lot of things that you might not be aware of when you're new about placements and strategy that we learn with experience. And so get support until you really start feeling confident about how to do your placements. Like, there's so many things I wish I knew then that I know now. So again, you don't know what you don't know until you make a lot of mistakes.
And I just want to give a little reminder to, when you watch this, we delineated sharers into sharer A and sharer B, and really sharer B is just the hostess.
Yeah.
So just don't get confused about that. It really means hostess.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. So your action steps are to go to the Facebook files section, and that files section, if you haven't found it, it's just right at the top of the screen, which is under the success circle image at the top. There's a section that says files, and you click on that, and then you will see the link for watching the webinar on how to invite to a class, and then how to book classes from classes. So you need to go and watch both of those. They're both really short, so just do it right away. And then download the hostess letter, the raffle ticket, the doc on Hostess Sharer Builder, and then also the script notes from Seth and Rod on how to invite. So those were all just uploaded last night, so they're all there. And also this presentation, we're putting all the PDFs of the presentations on the Facebook page right before the call, so you can also download this document and have it as reference. So your weekly challenge is to watch both those webinars and then post your top 3 takeaways from each video to enter to win a bottle of sandalwood, and we will choose 3 winners, and you have until next Sunday night at midnight to post. So you have all week to do this, and we will choose 3 winners. So we wanted to keep the challenge
you to watch the videos and
super simple.
And just
yes, we want you to stay focused on your
Mm-hmm.
building and your connecting and your membership overviews, etc. But this will help ensure even more success in your business. And to wrap up today, I just heard this quote at a network meeting, and I thought it was so lovely. I wanted to share it. If you want to have more, you must become more. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. For things to improve, you have to improve. If you grow, everything grows for you. So we want to congratulate all of you for stepping in, for getting uncomfortable, and for growing. Because it's these little steps that we do every single day that are going to get us to our bigger dream and make our bigger goal a reality. So I'm going to stop the recording here, but we will stay online for a few moments to answer questions. So give me just a moment.
Thank you, everyone.